Norway's coastal rangers practice boarding a hostile vessel. According to the country's Prime Minister, Norway now faces its most serious security situation since World War II.
With me on patrol today.
This is part of Joint Viking, a Norwegian-led NATO military exercise involving 9 countries, including the US. Here at the Cold Weather Operations Centre of Excellence, NATO is keen to show us journalists and the world how allies are working together. Norwegians in white, teaching Americans in green how to fight and survive in the snow. What practical things have you learned?
Anything from even what we're going to go through today, the breaking through the ice. I know that that's a huge risk. They've had a lot of accidents with that in the past because it's pretty deadly. The water is really cold, so even just learning how to get yourself out of a situation like that could turn badly very quickly.
We were keen to talk to the soldiers about the Trump effect. One Norwegian told me without the numbers and the tech that Americans bring, some drills wouldn't be possible. And then there's Article 5, which says an attack on one member state will be treated as an attack on them all. Or would it?
Are you going to make that policy, U.S. policy, that the U.S. wouldn't defend NATO countries that don't pay?
Well, I think it's common sense, right?
Also, why stay in NATO at all?
I view NATO as potentially good, but you gotta get some good thinking in NATO.
The relationship that we built to the military over years, operating together, that is a very strong bond, and it won't easily break. Also, the American forces and also the president understand that he needs capabilities to operate in this environment. So I don't think that we will see any clear breakout and that we will stop working with Americans. Yeah. What I see is quite the opposite. Okay. I see an increase in their interest of understanding this environment. We need to not only to know about Article 5, who says that, well, it's a collective defense. We also need to pay attention to Article 3, which says you have to take care of yourself first.
I guess it would be a shame if the US were to pull out of NATO.
I think our relationship with our allies is incredibly important. And what we've learned from them has been extremely beneficial to the Marine Corps and the United States as a whole.
I think that it's just super important for us to continue relationships with other allies and partners.
None of the troops we spoke to today wanted to comment directly about President Trump, and that's understandable. But what they did keep repeating back to us was they believe in NATO. They believe in collaboration and cooperation. If the Americans leave NATO, they still think the alliance can survive. But obviously, they hope the Americans stick with it. And they're hoping that the Europeans spending more on defence will convince President Trump not to walk away. Whether, of course, that happens remains to be seen. Paul Hawkins, TRT World.